Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Inner Conquest, the world's greatest modern metaphysics channel in the entire multiverse. How's that for an intro? So, what we're talking about today is mastery over your inner domain. So when you have mastery over your inner domain, what is your inner domain? Your inner domain is your fourth dimensional reality. Your fourth dimensional reality, as opposed to a fourth dimensional reality, is a subtle reality. It is the reality in between your two ears. It is the inner space of your beingness. It is the screen of space upon which thoughts, feelings, emotions, and mental movies are projected into it, right? So when we control our inner reality, what are we doing? Well, we're discerning what the landscape is of our inner reality in terms of thoughts, emotions, and different states of I amness or beingness, and we are looking to cultivate the states that we desire and trim the states that we do not. So how do we cultivate inner space, and why does it matter? Well, inner space is a preceding reality to a third dimensional reality. So much in the same way to where if you were to design a house, right, you would have a blueprint of the house before you build the house. Now, is the house built when the blueprint is there? Yes and no. The house is built when the blueprint is focused on long enough for the collective components to gather and physicalize itself into reality. So a collective component could be money, it could be the builders, it could be all of the external things, people, places, and circumstances that come together to physically manifest, turn something from unseen to seen in a third dimensional world. So a fourth dimensional world would be where the architect is sitting down at his desk thinking about the design of the house, thinking about the structure of the house, understanding the dimensions of the house, what rooms are going to be where, and all of these things, right? So when we look at it like that, it makes perfect sense. Well, of course, that architect thought about that house, and then the house got built. So what happened in that process? Well, you could call that a manifestational process. A fourth dimensional mental scape was focused on long enough with enough intention that reality was allowed to unfold in an external third dimensional reality, which is a more physicalized, concrete version. Now, when you think of a fourth dimensional reality, when you control a fourth dimensional reality, you are able to manipulate that reality at your whim. If I picture a house in my mind, I can picture it with a red roof, and now I can turn that roof to blue immediately in my mind. So the difference between a third dimensional and a fourth dimensional reality is a fourth dimensional reality can be absolutely controlled, meaning that you have total autonomy and sovereignty to build that reality in any way that you see fit. Now, what is the savior aspect of this reality? Why is it important to understand this reality as opposed to just living in a third dimensional reality? Well, in this reality, when you have total autonomy to create it the way you want it to, this allows you to directly influence the third dimensional reality. Meaning that if everything that is third dimensionally produced is a byproduct of your fourth dimensional reality, then our job should be to build our fourth dimensional reality in a way that is pleasing to us. Now, what happens is if you grow up your entire life without understanding the process of mental action leading to physical results, then you will prioritize the third dimensional reality before putting emphasis on the fourth dimensional reality. So when you go through life and you are basically living exclusively by your five senses, what you're doing is you're living in a very tactile world that has defined rules and parameters and has already been crystallized. So when you go through life like this, you simply respond to life. You are constantly responding to the environment around you and making decisions purely based on what your physical eyes and physical senses can pick up. However, when you start to integrate higher dimensions of reality into your creative manifestation process, what you do is you now begin to factor in the root cause of how those circumstances got there in the first place, right? So if you look at the entire third dimensional world and we take the architecture blueprint type of analogy, we realize that what we have thought about and conjured in our mind has expressed itself physically. This takes a decent degree of awareness to correlate, because if you are unaware that what you're thinking and feeling is reverberating back to you and being crystallized in third dimensional reality, then you are a helpless victim of circumstance, meaning that everything that happens to you is simply circumstantial. And we want to get out of this as soon as possible, because if we're to have the best life possible, in my perspective, creating life on our terms is the ultimate goal. We want to have creative control over our life, people, places, and circumstances, so that they show up in ways that are favorable to us, right? We want to be able to create life in the way that we want to. We want to be able to create the amounts of money, create the body, create everything to our specifications. So if we have specifications that are not currently in alignment, or maybe higher than our current physical reality showcases to us, our job is to go internally. We want to go into a fourth dimensional reality. We want to start to architect that in a way that is pleasing to us. Because even if the entire external world was to suddenly blink into our favored circumstances, if our internal world is not aligned to the reality that we want, our internal world will again create the circumstances that led us to wanting to change in the first place. So if you think about lottery winners, right? If they are in a state of poverty and they have a moment where they allow wealth to come into their life, if they are chronically dwelling in poverty, then the money will dissipate, because the state is a mismatch to the external world. So the nice thing about inner engineering, or creating and cultivating an inner state that is in alignment with what you want, is that you carry it with you everywhere. And the universe in its nature is a holographic projection that is basically responding to who we are being, right? So what does it mean to be? Well, being is an emanation of existence. I am, right? I am because I know that I am. The great I am is your simple awareness of being. What is awareness? Awareness is knowledge and perception. So if I have knowledge and perception of myself, then I know that I am. So now the unconditioned consciousness of I am, much in the way that if I were to meditate all day and just become a ball of bliss energy that is just present and fully aware that I am a being, then I'm not associated or identified with my body. I'm not associated or identified with a label as a business person or, a boyfriend or anything of that nature. So all of those different labels are conditions that I put onto the great I am that I am, right? Knowing that if I die, I will still exist because I am that eternal being, right? So you put your identity at that macro level. And what that does is that allows you to condition that identity in whatever you want it to be. Because if you place your identity on a thing that is changing or could be taken away from you, it's not your real self. So you don't have that power position of knowing that what is happening in your reality is simply a reflection of who you're choosing to be and how you're conditioning your consciousness. So when you know that, what you want to do is you want to take control of your inner space, which is the link between the third dimensional reality and your great I amness. So if you have a fully conscious awareness of being, and then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have third dimensional reality, which is like a big holographic VR playground that you're inserted into, what is the delineation mark between the two? Well, that is your mind, right? Your mind is an interface between who you are and the world at large, right? The world at large is pretty much crystallized. If I go punch the wall right now, it's gonna hurt my hand. But if I, in my mind, see that wall as being torn down with sledgehammers, now I can create an ability for that wall to be destroyed simply by putting emphasis. And if I think all day, every day about sledgehammers breaking down that wall, I will automatically pick up the phone one day and be like, hey, where's the construction crew? Yeah, I need this wall torn down, and the wall will be torn down. Just because I thought about it. So that initiative of putting what you want prioritized in your fourth dimensional mindscape is what gives you control over your reality. If you go directly to the reality, that is an effect world. So you want to work at the causal root of all effects, which is your inner space. And the way that you do that is you begin to think righteously. So if I have a thought that is, or first, I should prioritize my goal. If I have a goal of having $10 in my pocket, right? Say my goal is to always have $10 in my pocket. And then I have a thought, well, oh shit, I don't have $10 in my pocket right now. In my mind, my targeting computer that locks on to the sector of reality that I want to experience is mistargeted, right? So look at it like a video game. My targeting computer wants to have I want to have $10 in my pocket at all times. I'm thinking I don't have $10 right now. I have misaligned my targeting computer. So when you think righteously, what you do is you revise your targeting computer to lock on to the version of you that has it. Wow, every time I reach in my pocket, I have $10. Isn't it silly how no matter what type of pants I'm wearing, I have $10? But wait, Jacob, physically right now, you don't have $10 in your pocket. Well, dude, the whole world is an effect of what I've been thinking previously. So if I had a desire to have $10 in my pocket based off of the fact that I have never had chronically $10 in my pocket, my whole world has been calibrated to the version of me that doesn't have that. So when I take the mental stance and I have faith, which is loyalty to an unseen reality, in the version of me that has $10 in his pocket, I have to understand that I've locked on to a new targeting system with my mind. My reality, because it is slower than my targeting system, has to readjust. So what is the best process for allowing an easy transition of my reality to readjust? Well, I don't get in the way of it. I understand that it is a holographic projection that has to match the inner contents of my mind. So where should my energy and my effort be? My energy and my effort should be on making sure that targeting computer is aligned to the goal 24/7, because the second that I make an interchange in inner space, outer space is starting to conform to that, right? But if I have a targeting computer that goes, all right, I'm looking at it, nothing's happening. What is the universe clocking? Oh, he's looking at it, but nothing's, we've also got a signal that nothing's happening. And because the answer is always yes from the matrix, the holographic matrix, now we have to show him that nothing's working as well too. So it's important that you hold that fourth dimensional mind frame, you juice it up with emotions, you build a state that is akin to you having it. And then anytime there is a movement of the outer space, you simply label that as, oh, that's the perfect unfolding. Look at how cool this universe is, of how it molds itself perfectly to meet that ideal upon which I am fixed. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it great that everything is serving me and I understand how to operate the contents of my mind and focus it in such a way that it always gets me what I want? So that is why you conquer inner space. I hope you guys enjoyed this channel. If you do, like and subscribe. Additionally, I have coaching in the link tree, so don't hesitate to check that out if you want some help. Other than that, go conquer.